Oh.
you were. I could see the you were excited there for a second.
Yeah, I was. We're doing it. We're doing this.
Welcome everyone to the Quarter Twins Weekly Review, Quarter Twins Podcast. The show with only one question. Watch anything good lately? Bang! That's how you do the tagline.
It's the
First
intro.
try.
Yeah.
And probably best try. Let's
That's
keep
the
it that way.
best one you've ever done.
Honestly, every time I do an intro, I'm like, that was bad. I hated that. So
But
I'm
this
happy
one-
to say, this one I knocked out of the park, and it just flowed it's super smooth right into the rest of the episode, as you can see right here.
Yep.
Welcome everyone to episode 53. 53B.
53? 50? Yeah.
We'll address it next week when we do our Marvel episode. Assuming we're doing that next week.
I assume so, yeah. Might as well.
Yeah. So
We did it once already.
So we recorded it, and
Did we?
well, one of us did.
One of us did, yeah.
I recorded video, just not audio. Okay, it's a problem. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna change it, and honestly, the episode's gonna be better for it.
I think
That's all I'm gonna say. I think we're gonna have an actual discussion instead of an hour and 40 minutes of us saying numbers back and forth.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's gonna be better.
And this we've done 53 episodes, and that scenario has only happened twice now. So
yes,
assuming that it's not happening right now.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm gonna
It's not.
check. I'm recording video.
Quick
here.
double check. Yep, we're good.
I got audio over here. That's great. We
Live
got red
tech
lights all
check.
around.
We're good. Okay.
When we get really big, we'll have a backup recorder going while we do
a
this.
third computer. Batty Bo Batty
When we're in the same room.
Mo Matty.
Yep.
Yeah. When we have our own studio. That's an
Quarter
exciting
Twins
future.
Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, studios.
Studios. Quarter Twins.
Wow. When we have
LTD.
we're going to have multiple shows under our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We'll have like our gaming one, movie one,
Scripted content.
scripted content, skits.
Skits.
Where are we going to be based?
Would we be good at skits? I feel like I would not, for sure.
What are you talking about? Remember
I wouldn't be good at
cupcake
writing
one?
skits.
The superhero cupcake? It was a muffin.
We should air that, for sure.
I'm sure we could find that. I feel like I posted it on
have it
TikTok at
somewhere.
one point. Those are some classic videos right there. Anyway, welcome to episode 53 of the Quarter Twins Weekly Review, Quarter Twins Podcast.
You did do a good intro. You did say Quarter Twins Weekly Review, Quarter Twins Podcast, which we've never said before. So, I mean...
That's the full government name.
It was still good, but yeah. On our paychecks.
Yeah. Our paychecks. We should cash out that $8 we have sitting in the bank.
I don't think we can.
Well,
I think we had to get to $10 before we could cash out.
I see.
So it's just $8 we can never use.
In that case, share the podcast with your friends because we need like 100 average listeners, and we're at about 15, maybe. So spread the word.
Yeah.
And, get it out there. We post content on Twitter. Yeah, actually, yes.
We do
Twitter.
actually, yeah.
We post content on Instagram. That the video clip that you sent, or that you posted on my birthday, got more views than our podcast do. So, like,
hey, man.
what the heck, guys? Where are you?
That's all right.
You know what I mean? They're out there.
That clip wasn't even anything. It was just you moving around in your chair a bunch.
Oh, that was a funny clip. I remember that.
It was good.
Yeah. So, what are we talking about today?
I don't know, man. You want to get? Do you want to get right into the big issue or the smaller things? We should probably just jump right into the big stuff, right, and do the smaller stuff after.
Yeah, we can do the smaller stuff after. I have a couple things to talk about as well that are not on my list, so we can talk about A new movie was released just
was.
on the 2nd of June. Is that correct?
I saw it on your birthday, I think.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Shout out June 1st. What a day.
Wait, what day was that? No, I think it was the
It should say it on the poster right behind you.
It was June 2nd, but I did the Thursday preview screening.
Ah, yes.
So it was the 1st.
Okay, so you snuck in on the 1st, but it released on the 2nd en masse across the nation. And that movie is, of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is a sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure why that was a question.
Well, it's a sequel, but it's also like the first half of a duology on its own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to...
Which a lot of people didn't know. I knew. Because
going into it that it would be half...
Yeah.
Sort of an Infinity War scenario here.
Right. Which we should talk about that. Because people keep throwing around Infinity War and Avengers Endgame as if they're comparable to the ending of this movie, and I'm just like, I don't know if that's true, but we can get to that.
Okay,
we can get to that. This movie's ending is more closely resembles the ending of Fast X than any of those movies.
Oh,
and
good.
I'm not even kidding.
That's the
Fast
perfect...
X's ending was very bad, though.
Very bad.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I shall explain.
Let's talk spoiler-free here for a moment, huh?
Yes.
So this is the second movie of Miles Morales' story as Spider-Man, featuring many Spider-Men and women across the Spider-Verse, if you will.
Yeah.
And the first one kind of gets you used to the idea of the Spider-Verse, the multiverse, that kind of follows the Spider-Men and women across their various versions of Earth.
Yeah.
And it's all about learning how to be Spider-Man. And then we get this movie, and it's the continuation of his journey. Where does it take him? Fate versus like predetermination versus free will
versus free will. Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There is a lot of
exciting. Lots of new characters, new villains, new art styles, new music. It's very new, but also takes from the original, as any sequel would.
Yes, of course.
So it is a sequel to the first movie in this series.
It is. Yes.
In other words,
it's the second one of the three that are going to be out.
There you go.
Yes.
Facts. Thank you.
So
do you have the
I think
teaser trailer
it
info?
probably goes without saying that we love the first one. I think you had it as your favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
I was in a
point.
I was in a mind.
You were in denial. Yeah.
Wait, what was the word I was going to say? I was in a headspace. I was in a headspace of Spider-Man 2 is better than the Into the Spider-Verse. And that's, it's probably not true. I think Into the Spider-Verse is probably better than Spider-Man 2. I think I have more nostalgia for the Tobey Maguire ones.
There's some rose-tinted glasses on those old movies.
Yeah.
For sure.
But we might have a new best Spider-Man movie. I don't know, right here. we might just have one on our hands.
And then again in March.
There's no way that movie's coming out in March. It's definitely getting delayed. I'm 100% positive that's happening.
100%.
Almost 100.
You heard it here first.
You could say 99%.
Well,
because that's less than 100. So the teaser trailer information. Miles is a little bit older, and
at least
his mom's like, I think it is, 1 year after the first one. His mom's like, "Hey, you gotta stop being a moody teenager, okay?" He's like, "Nah, Mom." And then I can't remember what happens in the teaser trailer. I think it just cuts to him running through the multiverse, being chased by Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, played by
Miles
Oscar Isaac.
did something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all the Spider-Men are against him.
Yeah, I think the line is like,
Everyone catch Spider-Man.
Cut out this pause. Everybody catch that guy. He says something along the lines of like, you can't be a part of this, like you're the only Spider-Man that can't be a part of this mission or whatever, because you did this. Something like that.
You have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. This isn't gonna go the way you think. No, wait, that's from a better movie. No, it's not.
Whoa.
The Last Jedi. Yeah, the teaser trailers don't really give away anything, honestly. That's about it that you know.
Yeah.
I always fall into the trap of just saying it was really good and you should go see it. But like, it was really good and you should probably go see it.
It was really good and you should definitely go see it.
Like when I tell you that it's like probably it's definitely in the top 5 animated movies of all time. It's definitely in the top 5 superhero movies of all time. I'm going to say, I'm going to make that claim.
All right.
At this point, top 5, if not higher. Recency bias, of course. But I mean, I've seen it twice. I think no, I don't know.
He's on it. He knows what's good.
Yeah, I don't think I want to give away any more like plot details. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, I don't know. You probably wouldn't be listening to this anyway. So we think you should see it. There's better music.
Yeah.
Everything is improved. The animation somehow looks better than the first one.
Flawless.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it, initially with my first viewing, I gave it 4.5 stars because of a reason.
Out of 5.
I think we already stated that there's a cliffhanger ending. I gave it 4.5 stars because of that, because I was like, oh, I don't want to give 5 stars to an incomplete movie. But then I saw it a second time and I was like, oh wait, this is actually does have plenty of character arcs to be found, and it's actually just pretty freaking amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5-star review, which I did.
Go ahead and give it perfection.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's perfect.
Wow.
I wouldn't change anything except for a few things I would probably change if I could. But yeah, I don't know. Any spoiler-free thoughts you have? You liked it, I assume.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later. It will be winning a quarter, at least one quarter.
Yes.
It will be winning at least one quarter.
And I would be shocked if it won only one quarter.
Yeah. It for sure has the potential to win at least 2 in my book already.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit on the opposite side of the quarter, if you will, in terms of the cliffhanger ending and my opinions on that. It definitely takes away from me. I've only seen it one time.
You've only seen it once, right? Yeah.
So I understand that the second time I watch a movie, I change my opinion. Or I'm not sure.
Like for me, that definitely, like, once I knew what to expect, it definitely, like, the cliffhanger ending didn't bother me as much, because like I went into it knowing that it was going to be a cliffhanger, so like the pacing towards the end was a little bit off. For me, the first time I was really like on edge during a climactic moment of sorts, because I thought at one point it was going to cut to black, and then it didn't, and it kept going, and I thought, okay, here's where it's going to cut to black, cliffhanger, and then it kept going a bit more, and I was like, okay, here's where it's going to cut to black, and then it went even more. So it just, like, I was on the edge for that long, and so by the end I was just like, okay. So that, but by the second time, when you know what's going to happen, you really like settle into it, and you're like hyped for that ending. So I don't know, but
that might be coming from multiple characters having like endings and kind of have to be sequential with those. But yeah, I feel like the same music track is swelling for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it feels that way for sure.
Yeah, you're on the edge of your seat waiting for it to cut to black, and it just keeps going. Yeah, 5 times.
Great music going throughout.
Absolutely.
A startling revelation of sorts.
Right off the bat, it is art.
Very art.
Yes. And
probably the most art I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they
Just
they
like-
pack it in.
They throw so much art at you. You can't even fart. There's
Wow.
so much art. Wow.
You couldn't even.
Put that on the DVD cover. There's so much art, you can't even fart. There's so much art.
Wow. Yes.
That's a really good
Perfect.
bit. Anyway.
Okay. So with that said, we think it's really good. You should go see it. Let's talk spoilers, baby.
Yeah. The only people
Okay.
I've heard not like it are racists and jerks. So
Yeah. I mean the classics.
yeah.
You know.
I think it's a very
What movies
crowd-pleasing
what
movie.
movies are they seeing these days? You
I
know?
know, it's like I don't know.
They can't even enjoy The Mandalorian anymore.
No.
You know?
Yeah, okay.
Poor things.
Spoiler time.
Okay.
Spoiler time. It's a long movie. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Which is long for an animated film, I suppose.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. And there's just a lot in it, I feel like.
Yes.
Do you want to give bullet points? Or you want me to give bullet points?
Like a plot?
Spider points? Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. A year after the events of Into the Spider-Verse, Miles is the one and only Spider-Man in Earth 1610.
Yep.
We'll see if I get all the numbers right. I don't remember them all.
I like that you remember that one because I would not.
Thank you. That's the one I needed to know.
Yeah.
So in Earth 1610, Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and he's been doing it big. He's still in high school. He's 15 at the point of this movie.
Yes.
And he is, as you said, an angsty teen, trying really hard to be Spider-Man and Miles Morales, which is the crux of every Spider-Man character, is struggling to be Peter Parker or Gwen Stacy or, what is it, Pavitra? I don't know how to say his name.
I think they said Pavitra.
Pavitra. And Spider-Man. You know, they're always they're caught between two worlds, and they feel like they're totally alone, and they have no one to trust, and blah blah blah. Right? This is the Spider-Man character.
Yep.
Is struggling with your secret identity and your real identity. And so Miles is going through it. He's got no friends because all of his friends are in other dimensions, and his parents, you know, he can't tell his parents that he's Spider-Man because his dad's a cop, and they want to arrest him for being a vigilante, and, you know, he's struggling in Spanish, and his mom speaks Spanish, and it's a whole thing, and so he's trying to live both lives at the same time, having his cake and eating it too, if you will.
Referenced in the movie for sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so he's just struggling with that, right? And that's his struggle, if you will.
You could say that.
Meanwhile, in Earth number, I don't know Gwen's
I don't
planet at all.
either.
I don't know if they even give it a number.
They probably do, but I don't remember.
She is also friendless, and her dad is also a cop.
Why is she friendless?
And she is friendless because she killed her friend.
On accident.
But she
accident.
She didn't know.
She didn't kill
didn't
it.
know.
Yeah. It was a giant lizard.
Yes. So Peter Parker in Gwen Stacy's Spider-Woman, I think her name is Ghost Spider, actually.
So the way I understand it is in her universe, she is called Spider-Woman.
Okay.
When she comes into a different universe, or like our universe, she is, Ghost Spider or whatever. And you might say, isn't she Spider-Gwen? Spider-Gwen is actually just a random name they decided to put on the cover of her books for some reason that I don't fully understand. It's not even a real name.
Not specifically.
Because you couldn't be like, I'm Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how can she
I never
be
thought about
Spider-Gwen?
that until recently. I was like, oh yeah, that is a made up thing.
She's just giving up her name right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's Spider-Woman and her dad's a cop, and she can't reveal her identity. The same exact struggle that Miles is going through. And her friend Peter Parker is sad that he's inadequate or something. And so he drinks some random serum that he got. Not sure how. Maybe he made
Probably
it. I don't know.
Dr. Connors, I suppose.
Probably got it from Kirk Connors. Yeah. And he turns into the lizard. And then Gwen goes to prom, I'm assuming. Maybe it's homecoming in this case for Spider-Man. And she fights the lizard and ends up mortally wounding the lizard, and he transforms back into Peter Parker, her only friend. She's sad about it. He died. And then, of course...
Like, I never want friends ever again.
Yeah, Captain Stacy comes in right as she's holding his dead body, and he's like, you killed him, you know? And so now she has to... She's like wanted for murder, and she's hiding, but she's also helping people, and it's a whole thing. So she's sad, and she's got her struggles going on.
This sort of montage sequence we're describing it has the track "Self Love" over the back over it from the soundtrack, and it's phenomenal. Just throwing that out there, banging soundtrack
from the suburbs.
I got in my car, drove to the suburbs.
Is it? Do you know the artist's name? Coi Leray?
Coi Leray.
I'm not sure. She's good in that song.
That song specifically.
Yes. Well, I don't know any of her other music, so I can't say specifically.
I listened to some of it, and I was like, that is not for me.
Oh, no.
So just that song. It's not for me, you know? It's not my vibe.
So she's struggling in her world. Miles is struggling in his world. And all of a sudden, Vulture shows up in Gwen's world.
Yes.
And he's like, what's up? I'm evil, and I showed up here on accident.
I came to the suburbs.
And
I'm the Vulture.
he's like 2D sepia tone paper art,
like blueprints.
Yeah, and he looks really cool,
blue.
Right? And
he does look cool.
So Gwen starts fighting him, and she's like, "What's up with this guy? He doesn't look like he's from our world, and he's glitching and stuff like they did in the other movies." So she knows that he's not of this dimension.
Right. And
eventually some other Spider-Men show up, Spider-Man 2099.
Yep.
And Spider-Woman. I think that's just her name, Spider-Woman.
Jessica Drew.
Yes. And they show up and help her fight it, and then they recruit her into the Spider Society on Earth 40-something.
I thought it would be Earth 2099.
That's what I thought too, but it was not.
Because, well, I'll talk about it later. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not Earth 2099. Anyway, she goes into the new Spider Society because her dad is about to shoot her, and he doesn't accept that she's Spider-Man.
She reveals her identity,
and he's like,
"You're under arrest."
He's kind of sucks, and
he's just doing his job, man. He's following the law. He's a lawman.
He's a father first.
Hit those books.
Hit the books. And so she runs her way into the multiverse and starts running missions for Spider Society.
Yes.
Months pass. She goes to Earth 1610 to see Miles. Turns out she's there for an alternative purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a villain. His name is Spot, and he's
incredible casting, by the way. The voice is so good.
Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman.
Something
like that. He's Fantastic Mr. Fox, I believe.
Oh.
He's also in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, look at that.
Great movie. And so he's got like all these portal holes on him.
All of his holes.
He thinks he's all that because he was created by Spider-Man when he got hit in the head by a bagel. And so he's trying to figure out how to be a villain, and Miles is like, "You're not even worth my time. I'm going to tie you up and go to the school meeting and do my thing." And during the meeting,
academic
he gets
advising.
Out. Yeah, a future plan meeting with parents.
It's like, I want to go to college. I want to go to college and study wormholes or something.
Yeah. I'm smart. I love life. I can do everything I want at the same time, all the time. And
I'm invincible.
I got to speed through this. We're only in like the first 30 minutes here.
There's so much. That's what I'm saying. It's packed in.
So Spot gets out of the webs and runs away, and then they think that they beat him, but they don't. And he
figures out how to use his holes.
Yeah, he figures out how to use his holes to cross dimensional barriers.
Yes.
Okay, he gets a little bit stronger with a little collider, and his plan is to go somewhere with another collider, like the one in the first movie, and increase his power tenfold so that he can
kill Spider-Man.
Kill Miles Morales.
Everyone you love.
He took everything from me. I'm going to take everything from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so he gets away, and Miles is like, well, shoot. And Gwen is like, well, shoot.
Damn.
And so Gwen leaves, and Miles runs through the wormhole with her and ends up in Spider Society. And we meet all the spider people.
All Spider-Man.
And even like the popsicle.
Mm-hmm.
And like all, they're all
the T-Rex. Peter parked car.
Peter parked car. Right? All of them. It's awesome. And they go to another Earth that this one has a special name for the city, Mumbatan.
Yeah. Instead of Mumbai, it's Mumbatan. Instead of Manhattan. Yeah.
Right. So
India is the entire world, I suppose.
Something like that. And we meet Pavitra. Pavitra? Is that how you say it?
Pavitra, I think.
Pavitra. Oh, I get the letters mixed up. And so we meet this Spider-Man, and his deal is the same deal as everyone else's deal. And he's
like the eternal optimist. He's like, I'm Spider-Man, and everything is great all the time. I save everyone all the time. I have a beautiful girlfriend, and everybody loves me. It's great. Yeah,
just another great adventure. And
what does he say? He's describing his girlfriend. He's like, she is a very classy teenager. I love that line so much. It really got me.
That's good stuff. Yeah. And so they go through Spider-Man. Mumbatan.
Yeah, Spot's there. He found the collider that's there.
He finds the collider. He powers up, and then this building like falls on the city, and they save a bunch of people.
Spider-Punk shows up.
Spider-Punk Hobie is there, and he's like millennial London. He's got all the...
My name's Obi Brown.
Yeah, he's great. They have like subtitles for him because his slang is...
it's hard to understand for sure.
Thick.
Yeah.
And so they save a bunch of people, and they go back to Spider Society, and they find out what's going on. While they're saving everybody, Miles saves a specific police captain that is apparently supposed to die.
Mm-hmm.
And we learn from Miguel O'Hara that it was a canon event, which spawned many memes.
Yes.
Canon events and stuff.
Canon event. What's my canon event?
What is your canon event? Who knows? Hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened yet. I'm not Spider-Man yet, so.
Not Spider-Man. Exactly. So, basically, there's this specific timeline that they've figured out, and as long as things go as they should on the timeline, then the dimensions will not crumble for no reason.
Yeah.
And we see that in Mumbatan, that there's like a big hole in the earth and it's sucking the city into it. And they all just kind of leave, and that's never addressed again. We'll see if we can fix it. We'll be lucky if we fix it, kind of a deal.
Right.
And Future Foundation Spider-Man is there, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fixing that planet. And so Miguel basically tells Miles that, like, you messed everything up, and you're a problem, and it's not good, and you shouldn't have saved that person because it changes how this Spider-Man will be, and he's supposed to be important, or like he's supposed to... All the Spider-Men have to live through these same struggles because it makes them who they are, right? You can't save everybody, is like the idea.
Yeah.
And they show all these scenes of all these people going through the same exact thing, and they show Andrew Garfield and they show Tobey Maguire.
Wow.
And no Tom Holland, he did not appear.
Yeah,
but
they're ignoring
Donald
Tom
Glover
Holland.
did appear as Prowler in a full Prowler suit. So live action Miles Morales incoming. We'll see. Hopefully, we can get that in the MCU, which would be cool.
I guess.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
And so they basically, Miles is like, screw you guys. My dad's about to be a police captain. All the police captains die in Spider-Man worlds.
Yep.
So you're saying my dad's about to die in 2 days?
And they're all like, yep.
Yep. And you're going to let it happen because it's going to give you some serious character development.
Even like, Gwen, Peter B. Parker, and Penny from Penny Parker from the first one are all there, and they're like, yeah. You gotta let your dad die, man. You gotta freaking just let him die.
It's gonna really build some character. It's gonna put some meat on your bones, man. And he's like, well, did you guys know that your parents were about to die? If you did, would you not try to save them? You know? And so he's like, now that I know, I can't just stand by and not save somebody. It's literally like Spider-Man's job is to save people.
It's my job.
Right? So he's like, screw you guys, I'm going to go. And they're like, we're not going to let you go. We have to let this person die.
Because if he disrupts the canon event, it'll like swallow up that universe.
Yeah. It could destroy the whole universe.
Destroy the entire Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So he starts running away from every Spider-Man, and a couple people kind of help him along the way by like disrupting the other people. Hobie, Spider-Bite, Urban. Is that what his name is? I don't want to say the wrong name. Metro Spider-Man. They all kind of help along the way.
Yeah.
As he's running away, he goes up this big tram that's going to the moon. That literally, it must go all the way to the moon because it just never stopped going up. It keeps
going, yeah.
And eventually he's like, I've lured all the Spider-Men away from Spider-Man campus. And then he turns invisible, jumps off the thing, and goes back to this big spider that can transport people to any universe, wherever they're from, specifically. And so he gets in, and it builds the web around him, and he teleports out of there. And we find out that...
Where does he go?
We find out that he was never supposed to be Spider-Man because the spider that bit him was from another dimension, Earth 42. Shout out Jackie Robinson. That's intentional. And so his DNA is half 1610, half 42. He gets sent to the wrong universe. Universe with no Spider-Man.
Never got a Spider-Man.
Because the spider was transported away. And so we find... he goes to his mom's house, and mom is there, and he's like, he reveals to his mom that he's Spider-Man. He tells her the truth, and she's like, who's Spider-Man? Because there's no Spider-Man in this world. And then we meet Uncle Aaron, who never died like he did in the first movie. And then we assume he's the Prowler, and he's like, I ain't the Prowler. And then we meet the Prowler, and the Prowler takes off his mask, and he's Miles Morales.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my gosh. And then Miles and Miles are staring each other down. And it's like, oh. And then we have Gwen is like, screw this, you guys. You're going to send me back to my normal world. It's not going to work out. I don't want it. I don't like it. I like Miles. Whether that's romantic or not, we'll see.
Yes.
Probably, question mark? I don't know.
It was just
They've kept it pretty vague. Actually. Also, there was some romantic tension between Miles and Spider-Bite, and Gwen didn't like it, so I'm leaning towards yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Leaning towards yes.
Hobie, the Spider-Punk guy, built a interdimensional watch that they use to travel between dimensions and gives it to Gwen, and she's going to use it to find Miles. Because when she goes to Earth 1610, he's not there, and she realizes, oh snap, he went to the wrong dimension when he took the Wayback Machine. And then she's like, I gotta find him. So she builds a team with all the other Spider-Men who like Miles, and they're gonna find him in the next movie.
Yeah, that's where it
Bam.
stops.
Are we out of time?
Yeah, as you're describing this movie, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds like a really like puffed up movie with too much stuff in it, but somehow it all really works. It all comes together really well.
This is all happening like
It's
multiple things are happening at the same time.
It's like you're watching a movie at 1.25 speed. It happens so fast. The jokes happen so fast. People are talking so fast. It really throws everything at you.
I would even say, like, sometimes if you're not a anime watcher, or like if English isn't your native language and you like use subtitles all the time, there's some jokes you'll miss. There's some lines you'll miss.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Hobie is talking, sometimes they'll have like subtitles in the corner of the screen that are like, this is what he meant when he said this.
Yeah, right.
Because it's just like, what the heck did he just say? I have no idea what he just said.
Did you experience the audio malfunction at the beginning that a lot of people experienced, including myself? I don't know if you saw the discourse about that, but
no.
The
I know that they're gonna remix the movie and re-release.
Yeah, they remixed it because the opening of the movie is a voiceover from Gwen over this amazing music. That's very drums. Lots of drums because she's playing drums. The opening is so good. Okay, so it's Gwen is speaking while she's playing drums to the score of the film, while you're being shown things that happened in the past and things that will happen in the future, and they're all melded together in this beautiful art style. But I literally couldn't hear a single word she was saying because the mix was so off that her voice was inaudible under the music. So I didn't know what she was saying the first time. It was better the second time. But anyway, yeah, the opening is.
It must have already been
cool.
Okay for me because I had no issue with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it probably
the drums
depends
were
on the
loud
theater
for
you're
sure,
at.
but
And, yeah. So yeah, let's just talk about. We have our little bullet points here. There's a story here. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say we should add a bullet point before we go into the specifics. How was your theater experience?
Oh,
aside from this audio malfunction of sorts.
I mean, I feel like if you never got the chance to see this in a theater, like that's a big bummer.
Yeah.
Like this is probably like top 3 movie theater experiences you'll ever have. Pure visual like audio experiences. It's like
wow.
It's like this and Avatar 2 are like 1 and 2 up on my list right now of just like pure immersion and the experience of all that.
Okay.
The first. What, do you have a rebuttal? Or do you think it sucked?
I didn't. That's quite a statement to make.
Yeah. I mean, I would
like say Interstellar and Endgame.
Right, they're up there too,
better.
man. Okay. Are you saying like audience vibe as well?
Well, there's the bit of that, but
yeah,
like I was more immersed in Interstellar. That's a visually stunning.
Yeah, I mean it's like let me actually think about this. It's like okay, Across the Spider-Verse, Avatar 2, Interstellar probably. For me, like Force Awakens would be up there as complete.
I wish I got to see the first Dune in theaters. That movie looked good.
Endgame, yeah, I guess we could put Endgame on there. But I feel like
that's more for the overall.
Yeah, overall,
like 20-year hype.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
My first viewing, there were a few people that were that were pretty vocal. Like after the opening monologue with Gwen and the drums and everything, this guy was just like, ho! Like, he was just like, let's go, boys. Like, he was like, this is going to be great. It was really funny. And yeah, at the end, when it cut to black, they were like, holy, just like, no, stuff like that. And yeah, every time something amazing would happen, they'd just be like, ho! It was really fun.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. I never want to, like, you can't watch this movie on your phone, Joshua, when it comes out on digital. I mean, come on.
I like watching movies on my phone right here.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
I mean, you can get the new Apple augmented reality thing and be in a movie theater in your bed.
$3,500, although that does sound really nice.
Yeah. That's what
Let's be real.
For that experience alone, I feel like would be cool. But everything else they want to do with it, I'm like, let's not. Let's just not.
I don't need all that extra stuff. Yeah. For me, I saw it 2 days ago. I sat in the third row. I was too close.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
It was too close.
Yeah.
I think it hampered my overall experience slightly. Because I didn't notice there were subtitles for Hobie until like the 5th or 6th time he said something I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
I had to I was like, oh, there's something over there.
There's over there. Yeah.
Or like when the logos were glitching right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I had to take a second and adjust my brain to.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, I forgot about all this glitchy stuff at the beginning. I was like, it was like, I literally said out loud, I was like, I'm about to have a seizure over here. And so that was it was a little disarming.
Yeah.
To sit that close to the screen. I think the last time I sat in the first or second row, and was just too close was, I think it was Last Jedi. One of the viewings of The Last Jedi. And I'm just looking up like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. You
can only see 1/3 of the screen at a time.
Yeah. It definitely, I'll have to see it again in theaters to see the full majesty that you saw.
Yeah, you should.
And I mean, I will anyway, of course, but.
Yeah.
It was overall the audience was quiet for me, so
yeah,
it wasn't crazy or anything.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about the animation in general.
Okay,
pretty good, you would say. I would say
so. Pretty good is actually an understatement of the century.
Yeah. There's nothing else like it other than the first Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So these guys developed new art styles.
Yes.
Specifically for motion. So they're using the what are they called? Klepper dots or something. It's the specific way that comic books use a bunch of circles that are offset slightly to create focus or out of focus, and shading and stuff that you can apply to a background really easily on a image editing software or something. And so they use those and they shift and they move to create a rack focus or something like a camera would have.
Yeah.
And so they do all of this stuff and it's in motion, and I watched this video, some behind the scenes footage that this guy took on his phone in a meeting he definitely wasn't supposed to be recording, talking about concept art and how they were building characters and their models and stuff, and how Spider-Man 2099 has 15 layers of different art in his suit, and so that the way that he's inked changes as he turns, and the light changes on his suit, and he has these outer lines that shape his face and stuff that move as he moves, and his suit has LED lights that move while he moves and while he's not moving, and they're kind of have this static thing going.
Yeah.
And his blades are retractable, and they have to do the engines for the 3D animation for the walking, and all the individual frames have the drawing over the CGI and all this stuff, right? And that's for one character. And then they're like, okay, let's do Pavitra, right? And we're like, okay, so he's more 2D, but he still has to have his 3D model underneath. He's going to have all these colors, and this is the way that he uses his webs. So this is the way that the webs have to swing off of him and how he's going to move with them and all this stuff for every single character that they're doing, including the villains that also have their own way that they move and they walk and they like sling their webs or whatever. Or like Spot has a lot of big like hand-drawn circles over him and stuff when he turns black, and he has his the like rage white circles and stuff. He's very abstract and like kind of electric flowing kind of going through him.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff, it's like immaculate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my favorite was whenever you're in Gwen's world, her world's art style is like there's kind of like a brushed aspect to like every shot, and the backgrounds of all the scenes change constantly. So like when she's having a conversation with her dad, like the background on the wall will like change depending on the emotion of the scene. And like if she's like feeling sad, it'll be like a darker red pinkish color, or like if something exciting is happening, it'll change. Or like if a big emotion is happening, there'll be all these like floaty circles, square things in the background. Like I don't know how much of that was intentional to the emotion.
Oh, it
of the
was.
scene.
I saw an interview with Haley Steinfeld, and she said they described her world to her as a mood ring.
Oh yeah.
So I think
That makes sense.
like you were saying, it's very much intentional.
Yeah.
Like as the emotions change in the scene, the colors in the background change.
Like there's a scene where her dad's on one side of the room and she's on the other side of the room packing a bag. And then he's like, "Are you too punk rock to give your dad a hug?" And then when she hugs him, she like hugs him really quickly. And as they embrace, from their embrace, this like warmth comes off of them and like fills the room. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't even understand how they would, because okay, for those who don't know, I told Joshua this before. I watched the first Spider-Verse before I saw this movie, and we had a friend over. So I watched the first Spider-Verse movie, which looks incredible, and immediately after we watched Flushed Away, which looks terrible.
Claymation.
And it's just like, but it's like, it's not real claymation. It's they like, it's computer generated claymation to look like claymation, right?
No, it's Aardman.
I don't
like
believe
Wallace
that
and
it
Gromit.
is. Because it's not real claymation. That's what I'm saying. Almost.
Aardman is the studio that did it, so
I don't know about that though, because it looks like crap. It looks terrible. It looks like
looking it up.
I'll look it up right now.
It's like, I'm pretty sure.
Because it's in the style of like an Aardman thing, but
They made the movie.
it's like DreamWorks.
Aardman project made entirely in CGI?
That's what
How
I'm
dare they?
saying. It looks terrible.
Why would they do this?
There's no claymation. It's animated CGI to look like claymation, and it looks like trash. It looks terrible. But my point was, it's really hard to watch other things after you've watched these movies, other animated movies, because you're just like, why are we doing anything if it doesn't look like Across the Spider-Verse? It was like the experience I had after watching Avatar 2. Like I watched Across the Spider-Verse and I went outside and I was like, gosh, this sucks. It sucks here. Everything's gross and gray and dirty and dead. It's like, ugh, disgusting.
Wow. Sounds like you should move to Oregon.
Yeah. Oregon definitely brings that up a bit for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna counterpoint that there are things that I think that are better animated than Spider-Verse. But I think it's impossible to compare because
I mean,
like animation has so many different styles. Like even just within Star Wars Visions, you have so many different styles going on. You can't compare like claymation, feltmation, whatever, like an Au's song, to like the The Village Bride. It's like
Yeah.
completely different. You can't possibly compare the two, right?
And no one is like better than the other definitively. It's just like,
Sure.
because some people might see this and be like, that was too much for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
you
they're
could
like,
definitely get visually
that hurt my
overwhelmed.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's obviously subjective, but it's definitely
But objectively, it is definitely one of the best.
Yeah.
You
mean,
know?
just they didn't rush this out. It took 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they worked really hard on it. They didn't just whatever.
Yeah. I think
CGI, whatever.
The sad thing about stuff like this is that, obviously this movie is really good. It's going to make a ton of money. It's getting rave reviews, blah, blah, blah. And it will continue to have a positive legacy as it goes, right? Just like the first one does, is like the best 2 Spider-Man movies, some of the best, if not the best superhero movies of all time, blah, blah, blah. It might make a little bit more money than something else. It's not it might not make as much money as Super Mario Brothers, right?
Yeah.
And that movie looks good. Illumination did a great job.
Sure.
But that movie's not great.
Yeah,
Like that's like a 6 out of 10 at best. Right? This is a 9 or a 9.5, on a bad day.
Yeah.
And
did you see Illumination is going to be making Legend of Zelda the movie now?
oh yeah. It's a fantastic world
Yeah,
we live in.
It's great.
Yeah. But
It could be good.
yeah, so I mean it'll be good,
The same studio that made Across the Spider-Verse made the Emoji Movie, and that's true. So it's like
Really?
studios can do anything.
Wow.
It just
That's
depends on
amazing.
who they get to make it.
It just needs to be PG-13 or worse.
Yeah.
I think for Zelda.
PG-13 or worse.
I think the
What's
world
worse?
is R-rated.
Also, this movie's rated PG, which I thought was like you don't see that very often. And I was like, I feel like this probably could have been PG-13. There's some spooky stuff.
Well, happy for it to be PG. That's good.
And
They'll
that
make more money
reminds me
that
of
way.
like this, like the whole narrative felt so like we can talk about like the writing and the story. It felt so grown up and mature in a way that like Arcane made me feel, for example. Like the story felt like Arcane is definitely a more adult narrative. But there's a level of maturity to the writing in this movie. Like it's not the typical, like there are jokes for sure, but it's not like the typical Saturday Night Live type sketches, it's not like, it's not easy jokes, like there's a joke about Miles says chai tea and Pavitra's like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Chai means tea. And yeah, that joke, which is like, whatever. But
Good stuff.
it just felt like the characters all acted in ways that I believed they would act. And like Miles is acting like a teenager, but an older teenager who's learned a lot. And Gwen is also that way. Like you can tell, like they're still teenagers. They're not acting like 30-year-olds, but like they're acting in a believable way.
And like Peter B. Parker is
yes, yeah.
He's like the weathered Spider-Man, he's been through it. Now he's got a kid.
I would rather
he's
see
doing dad stuff.
A live action Peter B. Parker movie with Jake Johnson than a live action Miles Morales movie. Jake Johnson is such a brilliant casting for that Spider-Man.
He's really, really good.
He's so good.
But we need live action Miles. What are you talking about?
I guess so. It's just so hard. Like after we see this, it's like, what are we going to see? Friggin' Donald Glover? Which let's talk about that. So like, I'm watching this, like top 3 animated movies of all time. Like the animation is blowing my mind. I'm completely immersed, and all of a sudden we turn a corner, and there's just Donald Glover sitting in a corner. It's just like, it was like, get it out! Like, it's disgusting.
Earlier
our world
in
is
the movie,
gross.
Spot is like traversing the multiverse.
Yes.
And
This
he
is
like
even
shows
worse.
up in a bodega in New York, and it's just like,
Do you know this reference? Do you know what this is?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's have you seen Venom with Tom Hardy? So in Venom with Tom Hardy, the Venom verse, he goes into this convenience store, and that lady who's at the register is there, and she witnesses Venom like decapitate and eat a man's head, essentially, and so that's why she's like, this kind of thing happens all the time. But I didn't want to see freaking Venom in my Across the Spider-Verse.
The Venomverse. Also, they have a short Lego sequence.
Yes.
That was
Very
animated by a
14-year-old
TikToker.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. That's so
awesome.
cool for this guy.
Super cool.
Hopefully
Yeah, I liked... Those are like my nitpicky things were the little live action things. I don't think we needed to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. I did not need to see Donald Glover. I didn't need to see
twice.
The Venom lady. Yeah, Donald Glover twice. He stays for too long. It's too long. It's like a second and a half, but that's too long.
Yeah,
it's way too long.
Yeah, they held on to the Andrew Garfield crying shot for like
a
5
long
seconds.
Time. Yeah,
and I was like, okay,
yeah,
okay.
It really took me out of it because. Like, it's the same feeling as, like, walking outside after that movie. It's like, oh, it reminds me of what our world looks like. I'm like, gross. But what was that was going to take me to my other nitpick. So, narratively, we get to the Spider Society, and we learn that, okay, so Miles, I think the bigger revelation is that the spider that bit Miles is from a different universe. And what Miguel explains is that if Miles hadn't been bitten by that spider, he wouldn't have become Spider-Man. The Peter Parker in his universe would have survived. That Peter Parker would have stopped the collider, and none of this would have ever happened, which I thought was really, really clever to do that. Like, and there are like, I don't know if you've seen the foreshadowing in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like we saw when we see the spider in the first movie, it glitches. We didn't think think anything of it until now. We know that it's from a different universe, and that's why it's glitching.
Right.
And there are some other like Earth 42, like Easter egg type things. But I thought that was really, because that whole narrative device of Miles being the first anomaly, like really sets him apart from everybody else and like gives him a reason he's actually like unique. A bit more special and like unique in this way. That they are seeing as a negative, but they've never seen anything like him because he's a complete anomaly. Supposedly, like all the other Miles Morales alternate versions of him are the Prowler or something like that.
Yeah. So in the first movie too, when he first meets Peter Parker, he has like that spider sense tingle with him.
Yeah.
And Miles has like the green and purple Prowler colors.
Yeah.
And then when what I've seen is like people say, "Oh, his fate has changed. He's not going to be the Prowler anymore. He's going to be Spider-Man." His colors change to blue and red with Peter, and then they're like, "You're like me."
Yeah.
And so that's like, who knows if they planned that beforehand or not?
Yeah. I think they probably did.
But now, like, they've made it work.
Yeah.
And so you go back and you're like, wow, even if they didn't plan it, it works. It's cool.
Yeah.
Let's just say they did.
Yeah, we totally did that, yeah. But my nitpick comes in where Peter B. Parker shows up and he has his daughter Mayday with him, which is so adorable. And then when Miguel explains, when you learn like what the Spider Society is, and he explains like the whole canon event thing, and then they're like, your dad is going to die. We can't do anything about it. That's just how it is. And everybody's okay with it. I didn't super buy that Peter B. Parker would be super okay with that. I didn't buy that he would join this, which maybe they'll explain it in the next one, because they didn't explain like how Peter B. Parker met Miguel or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, I would have much rather him not be in this movie and him just show up at the end when Gwen shows up at his house to like help out at the end. Because I didn't super like, I don't know. It seemed really odd that he would be in on this whole thing, because like Miguel, like he's not telling the truth, is he? Like this doesn't all line up. I don't think he's telling us the truth, because like the canon event thing, I don't know if it just doesn't make sense or if he's lying about it, because like when he explains his experience with it, like he found a universe where he had a family, I guess, or he had a family, and the version of him in that universe died, so he took his place,
right?
And that destroyed the universe. But that doesn't disrupt a canon event, really. Like he just shows up in that universe.
Sure.
So I don't know. Like it doesn't quite line up with the story. And then later, or when we see in Moonbatten in Pavitra's dimension, like we see when they disrupt the canon event and Spot leaves, like there's this like kind of portal opening up, but it looks like Spot's powers. And
kind
like,
of,
and then we don't see what happens after it. So I'm like, I don't think this is quite. And like, he's a sketchy guy. He's like a vampire version of Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah, he's like injecting himself with spider venom or something.
Yeah, I've never read his comics, so I don't really know anything about him.
Maybe you shouldn't. You know,
maybe I shouldn't. He was super
until
awesome,
the
though.
third movie. Yeah, no, I thought
Oscar Isaac
was
freaking
really cool.
showed up to play. His voice acting is so good.
You want to know my nitpick?
Yeah, go ahead.
The most impactful, powerful line in the entire movie that everybody's talking about was in the trailer. The whole "nah, I'm gonna do my own thing."
Yeah,
that happens, and I remember seeing it in the trailer and thinking, "This is like the climax of the movie that you're showing me right now." I can tell you right now, this is exactly like the big moment.
Yeah.
This is the end of his character arc.
I thought that's where it was gonna end. Like,
at
the end where he says, "No, I'm going to do my own thing," and then he explodes with his power, like the Black Panther thing. I thought it was going to like cut to black there, because I agree. I think the movie was marketed a little bit poorly. Like the trailers never did much for me, and I felt like because there's a lot that happens before the Spider Society stuff, but like that's all you kind of saw in the trailers. So I don't know. Yeah, I think the marketing was a bit off.
I thought that was lame.
Lame.
That they did that.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not a huge fan of the cliffhanger stuff, but I already talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. I think. Did you see my tweet about Empire Strikes Back? People keep calling it Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, guys, that movie ends. It has an actual ending. Like this movie. Let me explain the Fast X thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you see my tweet about it?
I don't know about Fast X. I know the Empire one.
The Empire one. Anyway. So recap. The ending of Across the Spider-Verse. The music is swelling. We get a shot of Miles. Our Miles is chained to a punching bag. Prowler Miles is staring him down. You see Miles kind of getting ready to use his powers. Gwen shows up at Peter's house with the whole gang. You got freaking John Mulaney, Spider-Pig. You got Nicolas Cage, Spider-Man Noir's there. Penny Parker and their new friends are there, and it ends with a close-up of her smiling, like, we got this. Whatever.
Yeah.
On to the next movie, to be continued. Empire Strikes Back ends with Han Solo has been frozen in carbonite. They leave. Luke has altercation with Darth Vader, cuts his arm off, falls into the thing. He calls out to Leia. They turn the Falcon around. Leia saves him, and they hug each other and look out into the universe and roll credits, essentially. They're like, oh, we'll get him next time. Roll credits. Fast X. Let me explain the ending of Fast X.
All right.
Fast X Part 1, I should say.
Part 1 of 3.
Part 1 of 3 Fast 10 movies. Fast 10 your seatbelt. As the joke goes. I was not the first to make that joke. That's what they should have called it. Okay, so the ending of Fast X is Jason Momoa is evil, and their Dom is in his car with his son on a big dam. And they Jason Momoa shoots a bunch of missiles at them, and Dom starts driving down this massive dam. It explodes, but they make it out alive, and him and his son are at the bottom of the dam in the river. And Jason Momoa's like, "Joke's on you! I had this plan the whole time. I'm the Joker. I have bombs on this entire dam. It's gonna explode." And you're going to drown in the waters that are being held back by this giant dam. And so the bombs are about to go off, and it cuts to black. It literally ends.
What?
And then, no, I'm not going to spoil that, but it literally cuts to black. He's like, I'm going to explode this dam. And then it ends.
Oh my gosh.
It's just
That's
like,
not an ending.
it's wild. It's really, really wild. Then something even crazier happens. And then, after the credits, even something crazier happens. It's
They go to the
incredible.
moon.
They go to the moon. They did that in the 9th one.
That's crazy. Yeah. You wanna talk about the songs, the music?
I
'Cause
do.
There were some good ones.
I do. We've talked about scores and soundtracks before and how they are different. This movie has a score and a soundtrack.
Yes.
The soundtrack, where in this case, the music was written for this movie specifically.
Yes.
A collaboration, as you will.
With
Produced by
studio
Metro
producer.
Boomin. Yeah.
Metro Boomin.
Metro Boomin. Metro!
Metro!
I had never heard of Metro Boomin. I don't
What?
listen to much music of that
Come on,
genre.
man. Superheroes don't wear capes? What do you mean?
That's
Ric
a phrase.
Flair drip? How we not know Metro Boomin?
I got cherries stuck in my throat.
If young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
I literally had not heard his name before
That's funny.
this movie.
He's.
I'm not in that world.
He's a very popular producer.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's from New York or not. I don't know if there's anything specific about him that they wanted to do a collab with. But I mean, he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
So
Sam mentioned ASAP Rocky to me the other day, and I was like, "Who's that?" I don't know who that is. I literally never heard of him.
ASAP Rocky.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a really good soundtrack. The score is composed by Daniel Pemberton, who did the first one as well.
Mm-hmm.
The score and the soundtrack, these are probably like, without giving it much thought, like these movies are what I think of when I think of scores and soundtracks being melded together in the most amazing, beautiful way. Because you got like Guardians of the Galaxy, where like there's a score, the score will end, and a song from the soundtrack will play, that song will end, and you got other stuff. In this movie, like in both movies, the composer, which part of it is like you can do this with music that's written for your movie. You can't necessarily do this with music that came out in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But in both these movies, the composer and the artists making the soundtrack collaborate in a way where you can weave in the score, the emotional, the leitmotifs, as you will, in with the soundtrack itself. It's hard to explain without me showing you an example or the people an example. But you can look this up. There's so many videos about it.
Yeah.
Best example is What's Up Danger from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to What's Up Danger from like on Spotify, it won't sound like how it sounds in the movie, because in the movie you are getting Miles' character arc conclusion essentially in music form through the score. At the same time, you're getting What's Up Danger, which is like the lyric personification of the same thing, the emotion of his
taking a leap of faith.
Character climax.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. It's so good. Favorite tracks, Joshua? We got Self Love, as we've referenced.
Self Love
is really good.
We got Am I Dreaming,
which is the credit song, right?
That's the credit song.
Yeah.
Do on the violins, very good.
Yes.
Let me pull them up. I just had it open.
Home is pretty good.
Calling.
That's
the
good,
one
yeah.
where he's like, I'm gonna give all of me over and over again. Silk and Cologne. That's the Mumbaton song.
Oh yeah.
over and over again. And Another Dimension.
Another Dimension.
I think that's the song that plays after Am I Dreaming in the credits? I'm not sure where it is actually in the movie.
That one, because I was looking for it, because it's
on the deluxe version of the album.
It wasn't on the first version, but it's when Miles and Gwen are swinging together when they have their meeting, and they go to that clock tower or whatever, and it has that drone sound that I was looking for, because that scene is so good. They have such a good the shot of her like walking from the top side of that like what would you call that, like
an outcropping.
If she walks from the top to the bottom and the camera follows her around, and then she's sitting down and they're talking to each other upside down, but the city looks, or no, you're looking at them right side up, but the city's upside down. It's just like, whoa. That's cool.
There's a shot backed up where you can see them sitting upside down underneath it.
Yes.
And then they have like the beautiful city there. I'm going to need that as a background.
Yeah.
For
it's
sure.
Incredible.
Also Hummingbird is another song that he listens to before Gwen shows up in his bedroom.
Awkward.
His headphones. Yes.
I love that scene though.
Yeah.
I love that we need more romantic comedy superhero movies. I would have.
There you go.
Which, okay, this might be a nitpick. We're kind of going all over the place. But like, kind of part of the reason I was not like, it's not that I wasn't looking forward to this movie, but I was just like I didn't have superhero fatigue necessarily, which maybe I do, but I have more multiverse fatigue than anything, because it's just everything all the time. Everything everywhere all the time.
It's the new zombies.
It really is. It's just so much. And we had Spider-Verse, and then we had Spider-Man No Way Home, and now we have this, and there's going to be two of them. Madness. And we have Multiverse of Madness. You got Loki, you got everything everywhere all at once. You got The Flash coming out. There's so much multiverse stuff. There's so much multiverse stuff.
We're really doing a lot of multiverse, aren't we?
I wrote down my
Speed Force from the Flash TV show.
Here's the statement I wrote down in my notes comparing
an official statement.
This is the statement I released. In regard to No Way Home, this is what I wrote. I said, Across the Spider-Verse makes No Way Home look like somebody had ChatGPT generate a script and then filmed a bunch of scenes on their iPhone 6S, edited it on iMovie, then distributed it on standard definition bootleg DVDs. And I even kind of like that movie. There's no Way Home is so nothing compared with this film. I don't like that movie anymore. It's just disgusting to look at.
Where was it on your ranking?
I don't
top
know.
20?
In the
You psychopath.
I know. I just don't like it.
Well, there you have it.
I'm somewhat
folks.
of a scientist
He hates
myself. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up, Willem Dafoe.
That was a great line. You hater.
Yeah, I'm a hater.
That's from your favorite movie of all time. What are you doing?
It's pandering. It's pandering.
How can that be pandering?
Because it is.
I don't get it.
It's just boring.
You're losing me over here.
Okay, what else should we talk about?
The message of the film.
What's the message?
Is one of our
film?
categories.
A message from the Lord. That's a reference to a different movie. What movie is that from, Joshua?
I don't know. VeggieTales.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
VeggieTales Jonah. There's a musical number and everything.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
But I guess I knew anyway.
What do you think the message of this movie is? What do you think it is? Are they trying to say
here's
anything?
Here's my statement.
Is
that
it
I wrote
woke?
Down.
Is it so
Is
woke?
It woke? Oh
go
my
broke?
Gosh.
Woke, go
the
broke?
Forced diversity in this movie.
It's just a gigantic political ad I heard on Twitter.
Oh. It's a what ad?
Giant political ad. Because there's a
yes.
trans flag and there's a BLM sticker on Miles's backpack. I mean, come on. I mean, this is just... The woke left is out of control. I mean, come on.
Out of control. That is crazy. My goodness. Yeah. Yeah, the message is... Well... You've blown up my mind.
I really have. What was the statement you
great.
wrote? about it.
Well, okay. Here's what I wrote the first time. The first movie, the message is anyone can wear the mask, right?
Yeah, you can wear the mask.
That's kind of the idea of, having the Spider-Verse and Miles Morales and Pavatra and Pavitra. I can't say his name. Is that all these other spider people, their characters are, anyone can wear the mask. That's the point of the whole thing. Sun Spider, right? Is that her name? Sun Spider?
Know.
There's one that has a degenerative joint disease. She was in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah, I don't know her name. No.
I can't think of her name. Charlotte Weber. That's not even a joke. The spider character is Charlotte Weber. But I can't think of her.
About, there's
Spider Sona.
Did you like Ben Reilly? He was pretty funny.
Oh yeah. Perfect pose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it Adam Sandler? Or
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg.
Same name. Basically the same.
Dang it.
But yeah, he talks in the 70s comic book style where it's like he does that thing where he's like, there's something suspicious going on in the alley. I'm going to go check it out. I'm here in the alley now. There's something weird going on in front of me, but there's nothing weird going on to my right, and there's nothing weird going on to my left.
It's like a text-based game.
Yeah, it's really funny. A lot of people didn't like that, but I did.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was funny.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, he's Scarlet Spider. He's cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's got a hoodie on, but no sleeves. Sort of. Yeah, so the first movie, anyone can wear the mask. Now, from my perspective, having seen it 2 days ago, only one time, I said it's more about proving you deserve it and or whether you have to prove it to anyone in the first place. So, like, wearing the mask, comes great responsibility, right?
Yeah.
You have the power, now you have to prove that whether it's to yourself or to other people, that you deserve that responsibility.
Yeah, I think that's kind of characterized through, or that's kind of Gwen's character arc which this is like almost as much Gwen's movie as it is Miles.
Yeah, much more Gwen in this movie than the first one.
Which I loved. I thought she's amazing. We're at the beginning of the movie, which I noticed it the first time, but I was really paying attention the second time. At the beginning of the movie, when we see... we start the movie with Gwen when she is, whenever Gwen sees her reflection at the beginning, she sees her reflection as her mask on Spider Woman persona.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, when she's had her character arc, whenever she sees her, even when she has the mask on, when she sees her reflection, she sees her true self.
Right.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.
So I think. This takes some thought.
Okay.
At the beginning of the movie, she's not willing to tell her dad about being Spider-Woman. When she does, he freaks out and whatever. And at the end, when she sees him, after all these events have transpired, she's like, Dad, this mask is my badge. Like, you put on that badge and you have this responsibility to protect people. Like, this mask is my badge. And I think that is like, that personifies with great power comes great responsibility. Where it's and the film has a lot of like the dynamic between Miles and his parents and Gwen and her dad, and like the parents not being able to like let go of Miles and let him, even they don't know he's Spider-Man, but just the classic like, oh, we gotta let him be an adult even though he's 15 or whatever.
You know how you grounded him? I ungrounded him.
Yeah.
But just for tonight.
Just for tonight.
And he never came home.
He's gone. He's in a different universe.
Yeah.
Being tortured by his alternate self. It's wild.
Whoops.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
And then I had another bullet point talking about like going more into detail on the great power. Specifically for Miles, we see like the naivety versus maturity of like a new young Spider-Man versus the older experienced Spider-Man, which we kind of have in the first one with Peter B. Parker. But he's more just like tired of doing it.
Yeah.
versus like these guys, they've been doing it for a long time, and they're strong and they're grizzled and they know what they're doing and they know what's right and they won't ever change. And Miles is like, I'm not thinking, you guys are stupid. Like,
yeah, right.
I can do it. I can do both. No problem. Right. I can have my cake and eat it too.
I'm Spider-Man.
I
can do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, he has this big long message for his dad to put on the cake, and then he doesn't have enough room, so he gets another cake, right?
Yeah.
He's having his cake and eating it too, and he's having more than one cake.
2 cakes.
Yeah. And then he shows up at the party because he's trying to go home to the party, and he's doing Spider-Man stuff along the way while he's taking the cake, and then he gets there and his cakes are messed up and it says "I'm not proud" on the cakes.
Yeah.
Classic
Spider-Man stuff. I loved it.
Yeah. It was awesome.
I would love to see, which they're not, they said they're not making another movie, but I would love to see
after the third one.
I would love to see just a normal, not multiverse, just Miles being Spider-Man, having hijinks and stuff.
Yeah.
Doing a normal Spider-Man thing would be so fun. Get those pizza delivery moments, It's pizza time. Yeah.
It's pizza time.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? You had TikTok under nitpicks. What was that about?
Oh,
TikTok sucks.
It took me 7 days to see this movie.
Yeah.
And
spoilers abound.
I got spoiled by a couple things.
Yeah.
So
that's unfortunate.
I'm going to spoil a couple things here, Right. I mean, we've already done it, but images include seeing Prowler and all the other live action characters in images. I saw all those, so I knew those were going to happen. I saw the picture of, there's like a lot of on TikTok slideshows of like half of Miles' face, and one is 1610 Miles and the other is 42 Miles with the braids.
Yeah. Dang.
So I saw that. I knew what he was going to look like. It just never happened in the whole movie. So like the longer I waited, I was like the more and more likely that he's just going to show up at the end.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I knew that Gwen was lying the whole time about something, and then she revealed a lie, multiple different lies a bunch of times, and I was like, "Oh, this is what they're talking about. Oh, this is what they're talking about." Finally, when she told him that she didn't know how to tell him about being the first anomaly or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the biggest last one. I was like, "Oh, this is what they're talking about."
That's the thing.
Right. So, not a ton of major spoilers.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what Gwen was lying about, but I knew she was lying, so I was suspicious of her the whole time.
Yeah.
And the movie doesn't make it it doesn't play dumb.
Yeah.
We immediately see her doing other things.
Yeah. It's clear that she's hiding something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't completely ruin anything because it was just small little stuff. Or there were a lot of memes about letting my younger brother get this ugly haircut because it's his canon event, standing by or something with the Spider-Man 2099 theme in the background. So, which also people are going crazy over this theme.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, it's so much better than the Prowler theme." But I could listen to the entire Prowler theme. This Spider-Man 2099, the first 3 seconds are cool.
Yeah.
And then you hear this
yeah.
And I'm immediately pulled out. I'm like, okay, whatever.
It's still cool, but it's it's not. I'm not gonna. I never press play on that track for sure.
Yeah, it's not a song I'm gonna go out and grab.
Yeah,
and put.
It's
down.
Super vibey in the movie, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
But again, that's something different, right? It's in the movie. It has other stuff.
Yeah.
I did want to go back briefly. You talked about combining the score and the soundtrack, and you said, this doesn't happen very often. I wanted to give you a couple other examples. So you brought up Guardians of the Galaxy.
I didn't say it didn't happen very often. I just can't think of any other ones.
I have 2 examples for you.
Okay, give me those.
Of soundtracks that amplify or remix songs. Actually, let me give you 3.
Okay.
The Batman's Something in the Way, specifically, that has an alternate version. Stranger Things hits you with alternate versions of songs from the 80s that are soundtrackified. And
I don't
then,
like 80s music, so I'm out.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever recently came out.
That's true, yeah.
And has a similar score made
Collaboration
for the movie and then a soundtrack made for the movie.
Yeah.
And Ludwig mixed multiple versions of all those songs together, like the Spanish song. I can't think of the name of that one.
Con la brisa?
Con la brisa, yes.
Yes.
That song has a movie mix and a radio mix, or whatever you would call it.
Yeah.
That you can have both versions on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's just a couple other examples I thought of while you were talking about it.
That's great.
Movies that work extra hard.
We
and
love music here.
Yeah. I think my final point is that no matter how much money these movies make, we want these people to know that hard work pays off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you make a movie that takes 5 years to make and hundreds and hundreds of images and, like Interstellar, the black hole rendering, it was like 10 days a second to render that thing.
Yeah.
And, so it's on screen for like 30 seconds or whatever. It took a year to render.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
insane.
and that movie's my favorite movie of all time. Not because the black hole took a year to render.
Yeah.
But because it was gorgeous and it was amazing. The whole movie is good. So, you see these movies that it's obvious that they worked so hard to create this entire thing. Like, those are going to be up there with my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
So everyone who made this movie should be absolutely super proud of themselves.
Yes.
Because they created something super special.
Let's hope they got paid well. Let's just hope.
Yeah.
Unlikely, but we can hope. Yeah, I think the next one will probably be delayed a little bit because they've said a few very a few things that sound very skeptical. Haley Steinfeld was like, somebody asked her in an interview, like, have you recorded all your lines for the next one? And she was like, nope, I just finished this one last week. So it took 5 years. And the directors were like, yeah, I don't know if it'll make that release date. I don't know. So I don't really care. Like, take as long as you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finish strong.
That's my opinion on Arcane too. That's one of my favorite TV shows.
Second
it took them
season
like 4 years to make that.
Incoming sometime?
Yeah. Probably like 2026.
Yeah.
For another 9 episodes. But that's crazy.
That'll be great. I'm excited for that. I need to rewatch Arcane.
It's a good show.
Predictions.
We have more to say.
Predictions for the third movie.
Okay.
What are your predictions for the third movie?
Okay,
Joshua?
so here it is, right? So basically, I'm sitting there thinking about the whole canon event thing and how Miles is an anomaly and his canon events don't make sense and Miguel's canon events don't make any sense and blah, 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 right? So I'm in my head, I'm thinking, he's disrupting the canon. It's going to cause the universe to be destroyed. It's going to cause all these ripples in time and space and whatnot. But what if his disrupting and everything that's happening with Spot is his canon event, and he will save everything by being this first anomaly, right? And so the third movie's going to be about him fixing everything by breaking everything and doing it his way. And just because Miguel said that it was going to be one way, it doesn't actually... We don't know for sure just because this one guy's experience was such and such a way, right?
Yeah.
Shablang gabling. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. It's another thing that confused me was like, what in this universe, the universe is kept in balance by the existence of Spider-Man, is what you're telling me? Like... the universe as a whole is predetermined by Spider-Man.
And by including Toby and specifically Donald Glover in this, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is all tied in to this. So,
is this making sense? Like, I don't buy it because like you're telling me that Spider-Man is the linchpin of the existence of the universe.
Yes, sir.
If
Uncle Ben doesn't die, everyone dies.
Everyone dies.
But then Doctor Strange can make everyone forget Spider-Man.
Yeah, they referenced the Doctor Strange Peter Parker incident from No Way Home. So everything is tied together. So I don't know. So the title of the third one is Beyond the Spider-Verse, right?
Indeed.
So I think it's going to be like, where Spider-Man aren't actually that important, maybe?
Oh.
There's this character called Madam Web in the comics, and essentially she's like this old lady that... have you seen the Matrix trilogy, all of the Matrixes?
I haven't seen a single Matrix.
Well, never mind then. Essentially, in the second movie, there's a really famous scene of like Keanu Reeves walks into a room and there's a guy sitting in front of a bunch of TVs and he's like, I made the Matrix and I am omniscient and omnipotent and I look at all these TV screens and I watch everything all the time. Anyway, like so Madam Web is like an old lady that sits in a web and is like, I see all the Spider-Men and Spider-Women and I control everything all the time. So people are like, maybe that's what's happening. I don't know.
That sounds lame.
That's a possibility, I suppose. It does sound lame, so that's why I don't think they're going to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Miguel is definitely sketchy. Pretty sus. I don't think he's telling us the truth. But maybe that's a double deflection.
It's a double fake.
Maybe it's they're throwing me off. I don't know.
It's never the most obvious guy. It's Spider-Ham.
The person you most medium suspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham. I predict that the third movie will be really good. That's what I think.
What if it flops super hard?
That would be sad.
Yeah.
People thought this one was going to flop, but...
They're crazy. There's like literally no universe, unless they just phoned in the animation. There's no universe where these movies are bad.
They won't, yeah.
So.
I want to remind everybody that the guys who made this movie and the first one and the Lego movie and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the same guys who made all those movies. Great films all around. They were the original writers and directors, I believe, of Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh, really?
And Disney Lucasfilm was like, we hate this. So they fired them. They had to reshoot the entire movie with a different director and writer. And that's what we got. I liked Solo a lot.
It's great.
But I think it would have been probably a lot better if Lord and Miller were behind the script.
Lord and Miller. And they're really good people, I find.
It seemed to be. Yeah.
So, you know.
Very supportive of the writer's strike, for example.
Yeah.
Seemed to treat everybody well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Respect
shouts
animation
out to them.
And all that.
Yeah.
I will be seeing The Flash next week.
Oh my gosh. I will not.
I don't think you're seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
I will talk about it.
I stand with Ezra Miller's victims in my boycott of this movie.
I'm looking forward to attempting to explain this movie to you and the context of the entire DC universe, which you have not seen the majority of.
Yeah.
So
I still haven't even seen either of the Wonder Women. And like Wonder Woman, the first one is supposed to be like an actual good movie.
It is pretty good. Second one's good for other reasons.
Does Ares show up in that one?
In the first one, yes.
Yeah. Right on.
Pedro Pascal is the villain in the second one, and he's delightful. It's
Oh.
amazing.
That's fun.
So fun. Yeah. Kate, wait, what's her name? That girl from SNL turns into a tiger.
Kate McKinnon.
Kristen Wiig.
Oh, Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig. Yeah. I don't know if she's from SNL. She just
Kristen Wiig is in SNL. Yeah. She did the
nailed it.
The Target lady.
Hey,
oh,
welcome to Target.
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't watch SNL.
Brutal.
Don't find it funny. Hot take.
Not anymore. It used to be good.
Well, it's too woke, so.
Well, don't catch me on the wrong side of that argument. I like that they're woke.
Yeah. Woke is anyway. We're not going to get into an actual discussion about it. Anyway,
Don't make
okay,
me look
that's
sleepy.
it.
Heyo. All right, yeah. I just wanted to bring up my prediction. That took 2 seconds to explain. Anyway, we're done now for the second time. Goodbye forever.
See ya.
Till next week.